I really don't know what to call this, but it is delicious and your whole family's going to love it. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. Today's recipe is for something that I really did not know what to call it because it doesn't meet the stroganoff definition. It's kind of made up by me and it's absolutely delicious. So I settled on calling it creamy beef tips and pasta because that describes it. It is a creamy cream cheese sauce that is full of flavor and is so absolutely delicious and easy to make. So this is a winner. Plus, there's a bonus. If you're gonna make it in the Ninja Possible Cooker Pro, you can actually cook your string beans on top and you can have a complete meal, what we call a 360 meal, done in about an hour. And it all starts with 1 pound of a top sirloin, or you could get what they label as London broil in the stores. That would be fine. It's not always a sirloin cut, but that will be fine for this recipe. Then you want to just lightly trim it, keep some fat on it, okay? That will just keep some moisture in. And we're gonna cube it up into about 1.5 inch cubes, okay? The bite-sized pieces. That way they will tenderize during our very short slow cook time. All right, so let me get the pot heated up because you do want to get the oil in and everything heated because we're going to add some mushrooms and I'm going to show you how to cook them for the best result. So you want to go to sear saute on high and hit start. If you are using the other version of the Possible Cooker Pro, you don't have high and low sear saute. They actually put in temperature ranges. So go somewhere between 375 and 400 and just keep an eye on it. You want it to start out with a hot pot, but of course, if things are browning too quickly, reduce your temperature a little bit, okay? Now, immediately I'm gonna put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm not really measuring because it's not gonna matter so much. You don't want it swimming in olive oil, but you know, it'll be fine if you put in 2 or 3. And then we're gonna add in a little bit of butter. And that is because the mushrooms, I think, taste so much better when they saute in a little bit of olive oil and butter. All right, well, that's heating up. I'm gonna cube up the steak, just like I said before. And this is the part that I kind of trim off a little bit, but not too much, just like that. And then just cube it up. And I'm gonna put it into this container because we're gonna season it and we're also gonna coat it in a little bit of mustard. Now we want to salt and pepper the steak. You're going to use 1 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Mix that up and then just sprinkle it all over the meat here. And give it a toss around. I find this gives a better flavor to the beef than if you just added the salt and pepper to the flour itself. But either way is okay. But this actually just, I don't know, it just made the beef taste better to me. Then we're gonna add something else. And this is something that's kind of interesting because I never do it. A lot of people use a mustard binder when they're making different kinds of recipes. I don't usually ever use mustard to coat meat in, but I did it in this recipe and it was so amazing. So that's how I'm gonna keep the recipe. It's really good. It's just a perfect pairing for this dish. A little tangy and oh, it's just so good. And we use mustard also in the deglazing liquid. So it just carries that theme along. And then mix this up so that your meat is coated in the 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. That is what I recommend, not yellow mustard, definitely a Dijon, or you could use even like a spicy country French or something like that. That would be delicious. All right, that looks good, and I'm starting to hear some sizzling over here. So let's start our mushrooms because that is the most time-consuming, but I think important part of this recipe, and that is to Brown your mushrooms on both sides so that they dry up. If you just put them all in the pot, they're gonna steam, release a lot of liquid. We're not gonna get good browning on our beef, and that's gonna throw off the flavor of the whole dish. So I really suggest that you take the time to do this, or you can skip the mushrooms too. I have made it without mushrooms, and it is delicious that way too. So I just lay the mushrooms on the bottom here of the pot. And you can do this even though it hasn't fully preheated. It's perfectly fine to go in and just start to lay down your mushrooms. And I'm using 8 ounces of portobello mushrooms, about a 1/2 inch sliced. You could also use white button mushrooms. While the mushrooms are browning on the one side, let's go ahead and get our beef into some flour. So I have a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, and to that I'm gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt or kosher salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme leaves, not ground thyme, and a 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary leaves. And just mix that up. And then we're gonna add our beef cubes to it. And try to get each piece lightly coated with the flour. All right, they are all nicely coated. So that looks good. Now it's been almost 5 minutes. Let's flip our mushrooms. They smell so good. Amazing, aren't they? Oh my gosh. And the flavor will just blow your mind. All right, now we can start to get in our beef tips, beef cubes, whatever you want to call them. And we're gonna put those in kind of carefully too, because we want those to brown nicely. So we don't want to just dump it all in. I'm gonna put them in a single layer. And it is fine to move the mushrooms a little bit closer together now. Okay, there we go. Now I'm gonna clean up here, then we're gonna get our braising liquid mixed up because some of the ingredients in there might surprise you. Before I mix up the glazing liquid, let's go ahead and get our onions in so they can start to cook a little bit. And that was 1 large sweet onion. You could use any kind of white onion or yellow onion that you like. And it was cut in about a 1/2 inch strips, and it was probably about 1 1/4 cups. It was a good size onion. So give it all a stir now so we can flip that beef. And let the beef continue to brown for a few more minutes. 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of a dry sherry. And this is the secret, and this makes it delicious. Please, please add it. Even if it's the cooking sherry from the grocery store, it just adds this flavor that is unbelievable. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and mix this up really well. And to that, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of homemade garlic paste, but you could use garlic paste from the store. You could mince some garlic and then lightly press it with some olive oil, but then you're gonna wanna put it directly in the pot so it can cook a little bit. I made mine with cooked garlic, or roasted garlic would also be really good in this. Mix that up a little bit. And then to that, we wanna add about 1/4 cup of beef broth. That's good. And now we just pour it in and then start to scrape the bottom of the pot to deglaze it and get all of the fond that is kind of cooking on the bottom into the sauce. All right, I just filled this back up because I don't want to lose any bit of that flavor. And there we go. It's beautiful. The sauce on the bottom's already starting to thicken. But now we need to add some thin liquid because we're gonna cook the pasta right in the pot. And what I'm using is 8 ounces or 3 cups of bow tie pasta, okay? So put that right in. Give it a stir around. We want the pasta as submerged as possible under the liquid. So give it a stir now, and then we'll stir again after we add the liquid. right, that's it. So a total of 4 cups of the beef broth, and then we're gonna add the cream cheese right on top, but don't stir it in, okay? So you want 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. So if you want to cook your string beans right on top, which you should because it's so easy, if you like string beans that is, you want 12 ounces of frozen string beans and about an 8-inch by 2-inch pan. This is my setup. This is an 8-inch by 2-inch Fat Daddy-O pan. I've got my frozen green beans in there, and then I will put a little silicone lid on top, or you could cover it with foil. However you want to cover it's fine. The reason why I cover it is because you don't want the condensation falling into the green beans. Put your rack in on high. Put the green beans on top. Put your lid on. And now what we want to do is let this come to a boil, which is only going to take about a minute. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to turn it onto high slow cook for 1 hour. All right, so we're boiling. So turn the pot off, turn it back on, slow cook on high, hit the start button. It defaults to 6 hours. Take your time down to 1 hour. Just like that. And then leave it alone and let it cook. And believe it or not, everything turns out perfect. And you can even leave it on keep warm for up to an hour after the cook time is over. All right, our hour of high slow cook has finished. Like I said earlier, you can leave it on keep warm for up to an hour. After an hour, the pasta does start to become a little bit too soft. And of course, that's a matter of preference too. If you like really soft pasta, then you can leave it on even longer than that on the keep warm. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the green beans out, get them seasoned up, and then I will show you how to finish the dish. And they are beautiful. Oh my gosh. I did this just as a little test because I was like, well, if it works, that'll be great. And I was blown away by the texture of these green beans. They are perfect. They're not too soft. They are not too hard. They are absolutely perfect. Put a little bit of butter on them. A little bit of salt and pepper, or however you want to season them up. Give them a toss around. Melt that butter. And then I like to just put the cover back on. Just to keep them warm. And set them over there. All right, now let's finish up. And what I want you to do is just give it a nice stir and then slowly stir in the cream cheese, which is really nice and soft. And it's gonna look a little lumpy at first, but that will smooth out. Okay, once you have it all stirred in, just let it sit for about 5 minutes and then you can serve it up. Now you can put it into a nice platter and then put some parsley on top for garnish, or you just serve it like I'm gonna do, directly on my plate. All right, I'm excited. It smells so good. And there we go. Easy and delicious. All right, for the string beans. This one really did surprise me. They are perfect. I mean, perfect. All right, let's get a mushroom because we spent so much time on those, right? Oh my goodness. Wow. The only thing I might do different about the mushrooms is just put a little bit of salt on them as they're sauteing. I think they could use just a little bit of salt, but they are so good and the texture is absolutely amazing. All right, pasta. And I picked bow tie pasta for a reason, okay? And I really urge you to use this style of pasta, the shape of pasta, because of the way it holds up. The issues with some of the other ones, especially if they're smaller, like elbow macaroni or things like that, they are gonna get too soft in the hour of slow cook. And penne would work just fine, I think, but I have not tested the recipe with that. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Now I'll say the pasta's a little bit softer than I would like. I might cut the time down if you like firmer pasta to 45 minutes, which I think would be fine for the vegetables and the beef. But the flavor is so amazing. Oh my gosh. This sauce is so good. All right, now for the beef. Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot to put the garnish on. It does look really pretty. There we go. This is so amazing. Oh, I hope you try it, and I hope you love it. Oh my goodness.